expert panel. We begin with Radar Online Senior Executive Editor Dylan Howard. Dylan, what are the latest twists and turns in this one?
Well, Jane, it was a very awkward press conference today. Brett Favre almost resembling a Tiger Woods press conference, if you like. He dodged those questions. Interestingly enough, he hasn't denied the original Deadspin.com report suggesting that he made those lewd text messages to Jen Sturger. Now, Favre was interviewed by the NFL's security officers yesterday. He wouldn't comment, nor would the NFL comment about the status of that investigation. But we've also learned today that the NFL has sought out the editor of Deadspin.com to ask him about how they obtained the particular information that was published some 2 weeks ago. And further to that, Jen Sturger has not denied that she won't also speak to the NFL. She's saying that she reserves her right in that, but still very much that is an option, which is interesting given that the original information which was published supposedly did not come from Sturger direct herself. So
maybe she showed these alleged texts and photographs to a friend, and the friend then decided, hey, I could make some money on it. Is that a possibility anyway?
Look, that's a possibility. Anything's a possibility in this. It remains to be seen how that information actually came out. But interestingly enough, also, Sturger has today denied that this is an apparent shakedown of Brett Favre. Although she has engaged a law firm, she says she's not interested in Favre's money, but she is considering, as I say, whether to cooperate with league investigators who seem hell-bent on getting to the bottom of this.
This is not a criminal matter. I'm wondering why she thinks she needs an attorney, so we're going to get to that. Deadspin.com broke this story on these penis photos that Brett Favre allegedly sent to Jen Sturger. There she is. Deadspin admits paying, as you just heard, a third party, not her, a third party for the information. Here's a voice message purportedly left by Brett Favre. However, HLN has not confirmed that it is his voice. You listen.
So, send me a text, because I'll be in the building for a couple hours. Love to have you come over tonight. But I know I think came up and asked you.
Steve Santagati, badboysfinishfirst.com. Has Brett done something wrong? Should he be in the kind of spotlight he is in right now?
You know, if he was any other guy, he definitely didn't do anything wrong. We all do it. I just sent you a text, Jane. But
well, I hope it doesn't have a photograph attached to it. That's all I can say.
It does. I had to send it twice. I had to send it twice to get it all in. Listen, in all seriousness, he made a mistake because he's a public figure. He's a celebrity. He also has a contract with the NFL that I'm sure has a disclaimer in there that says, you know, you have to have act appropriately, if you will. But we all do it. We're all human beings. Whether you're a celebrity, rich, famous, doesn't matter. We all think about sex. We all want to do it. He probably should have just sent her a picture of some cash. He would have got further.
Oh, well, you know what? That might be unfair to her. She's not the one who broke this story, so I think that kind of says something good about her. But Jenny Page, you're a criminal defense attorney. This isn't a criminal matter. The NFL is investigating this. Why do you think she needs an attorney?
Yeah, I don't know if she's planning on some kind of civil action. It doesn't appear to be a criminal situation.
Well, let me give you a hint. Her lawyer said they're going to pursue any potential remedies that may exist.
You know, it occurs to me if he'd walked up to her in a raincoat and flashed her, he would have been subject to possible indecent exposure charges. So it doesn't appear there are going to be harassment charges or indecent exposure or misuse of the internet criminally. But just because it's not a crime to be stupid doesn't mean that he hasn't been convicted in the court of public opinion. This is a man who has spent 20 years not just being a good athlete, but preening his role like Cal Ripken into being this squeaky clean guy who's just the face of football and never misses a game. And I think in today's days with the tragic stories of the sexting and the bullying, it's hard enough for us to teach our 11 and 12-year-olds they shouldn't be sending pictures of their private parts to other people and what could happen. We shouldn't have to be sending that message to a 41-year-old man.
You are right. Catherine, Missouri, your question or thought?
My thought is that it's just ridiculous. Someone of his talent and experience, he's not an 18-year-old child, he should know better, to send actual pictures of his private parts. And when I have a teenage grandson who looks up to all these people, it's embarrassing to me that people would stoop so low. He has plenty of money. I'm sure he could have about any woman he probably wanted. He just did something in very poor taste.
Well, Steve Santagati, who is a self-proclaimed bad boy, is shaking his head and wants to disagree with you, I think, ma'am. Steve.
Well, Jane, you know, I tell everybody, we're politicians, we're football players, we're plumbers, we're lawyers, and we're doctors, but we're men first. And this is how men think and act. He might, and again, like the lawyer said, there's no law against acting stupid necessarily, but we're men. Men think like this. We are sexual beings, and we do stupid things because our GPS, global penis system, drives us in the wrong direction sometimes.
All right, but let's talk about
how it is.
Go ahead, Dylan. What?
I was just going to say, it doesn't make it right. And here we have a future Hall of Famer, an absolute icon of the game, and someone who must uphold the values of being a role model to young men. And whether or not it's in his being, he's got to behave a certain way.
What? And that's the situation, Jane. This man has held himself up as a role model. And, you know, I think it's funny. We think when somebody has excellence in something like athletics or singing, it means they have excellence in character as well. And there's just no correlation. Just because someone is a good athlete doesn't mean they have good character. But like your show yesterday showed, no means no. When this woman did not respond to these emails, when she did not respond to these voicemails and overtures, at some point it becomes harassment.
Well, let's talk about Jen Sturger. I mean, who is she? We know she worked with Farve when he played with the Jets in 2008. And what I heard is she was a sideline personality. Now, I understand there are sideline female reporters who work for, like, ESPN. But what does a sideline female personality and a host do for a football team? What the heck is that, Dylan?
Well, she worked for the Jets. That's what makes this the interest for the NFL, because she actually worked for the team. So on this particular instance, the NFL is duty-bound and has a right to make sure that employees of an organisation under its umbrella are not harassed in this vein. Now, she's kicked on. She's got her own television show now, and she's a model, and she's going to do very well out of this. This is certainly going to catapult her into many more households than she ever thought of.
All right, why does she need a lawyer? What are your thoughts? Give me a holler on the other side.
That's a league issue that I just have to leave at that. Once again, Ed, you know, I refer that to them.
Football great Brett Favre in the spotlight after he allegedly texted photos of his penis to a sideline reporter for the New York Jets a couple of years ago. Favre has neither confirmed nor denied the existence of these photos. Keep saying it's a league issue. Becky, Virginia, your question or thought?
My question is, why did it take 2 years for this to come out, except after she appeared in a magazine? And the fact that she's got a lawyer means she's probably afraid that he recorded her into the conversation, and maybe she sent him photos also. Oh,
very, very interesting point. Dylan Howard.
Well, yes, indeed. New York's a one-party consent state. For example, on the other hand, California's a two-party consent state. So she perhaps has some questions to answer about where she was at the time and whether she recorded this conversation surreptitiously. It's a very valid point the caller raises.
Yeah, my big issue tonight.
I'd like to make a
trail of the text.
Jen, I'd like to make a point.
All right, go ahead.
I'd like to make a point about Jen Sturger, too. I found it very interesting that a month ago, before any of this came to light with her own harassment, she was asked to be quoted about that other woman, the Latina woman who worked for Azteca and had been harassed within the Jets. And her position and quote was that the woman got everything she deserved and all that she had asked for. So it's sad to me that there's not support of other women among women.
Yeah, well, now she knows what it's like to be in the center of this kind of scandal.
She sure does.
Again, I'm going to talk about my big issue, and that is trail of the text. If Farve did this, and that's an if, he's one in a long and growing line of professional athletes who have left a trail of evidence, text messages, voicemails. Remember this one?
Hey, it's Tiger. I need you to do me a huge favor. Can you please take your name off your phone? My wife went through my phone and maybe calling you.
Steve Santagati, when are these guys going to learn? There are no secrets in this world of texting.
Jane, do you know how it works, though? It goes back and forth. Like, I don't just send a picture of myself. A girl says something to me, I say something to her. It goes back and forth, and it increases as you need it to increase. And quite frankly, to go back a little bit, I think Brett Favre is a great role model for guys because he's teaching them, A, don't be stupid if you're famous and successful, and B, don't get caught.
Well,
so there you go.
Wait, are you saying what he did was okay because that sounds like the old she asked for it excuse.
No. No, it's not she asked for it, Jane. Don't confuse that. I'm not that guy. It's very specific. I'm sure they had some sort of dialogue. Women dress a certain way to get attention from men, and when they do, and especially if it's provocative going back and forth with a famous athlete, I'm sure there was some sort of dialogue that
well, then why doesn't he produce that and say, hey, it's not my fault? By the way, I understand that his wife, Brett's wife, may be making some TV appearances tomorrow, so we're going to stay on top of the story. Thank you, panel. Again, Nancy Grace, the very latest on the disappearance of Zara Baker.